Hello friends, again it's good to see you and to have you again in this program, and I'm continuing from where I left from last time. I talked about principle number 1, and now we get into principle number 2 in the book 21 Principles of Leadership Succession. Today in this book I want to highlight or review the areas that I have highlighted in this book from the principle number 2, which says we must pray and discern spiritually. In leadership succession, we must pray and discern spiritually. And when you talk about discerning spiritually, we also need to understand that leadership succession is not only a strategic or organizational process. It is literally a spiritual process which requires prayers and discernment, so that we can be able to know the people we are engaging and trusting with leadership. First of all, one area that I have really talked about in this book is the area of biblical pattern of leadership succession. I have highlighted the patterns, the biblical patterns of succession leadership, from Moses to Joshua, from Elijah to Elisha, from from Paul to Timothy, and quite a number of other leaders who had the proper transition of leadership from one generation to another generation. I have also highlighted the failed leadership transition in this book, about when David completely failed to provide a proper transition for leadership. So we must follow the biblical pattern of leadership transition. Number 2, prayer must saturate the process. When we are preparing for transition, we need to know that prayer is a key part of transition in any leadership succession. So prayer must saturate the whole process. Because it is a process, then every bit of the process must be saturated by prayer. We must pray before we engage people, because it's only through prayers we can be able to discern and understand people. Number 3, discernment. Discernment is the ability to deeply understand about an individual. Some deep things about an individual, things that cannot be seen, from just mere talking or engaging. We must discern in order to get deeper into the heart of that person, to understand deeply about the character, the behavior, and the way that person conducts himself. So we must have a discernment. Number 4, we must avoid the trap of human assumption. Many times in leadership, we have assumed things, and through assumption we think that person so and so is worthy to be the leader. We have seen this in the Bible when Samuel was sent in Jesus' house, and Jesus was made to bring all his sons. By human assumptions and human standards, there were some huge great men who they thought would be leaders, but in the real sense they were not. So we must avoid human assumption. We do not assume that so and so can be a leader. We need a proper discernment, so that the people we engage into this leadership transition are people that are truly qualified to be leaders and to carry on with the process of the ministry or the organization. Number 5, we must create the space for the Spirit to speak. We do understand through scriptures that the leaders who really performed very well, they gave space and allowed the Holy Spirit to speak to them. A perfect example is with the disciples. When they wanted to replace Judas, who had betrayed Jesus, they prayed and they gave the Spirit an opportunity to reveal to them. And the Bible records that they all realized that this man by the name Matthias was qualified to take over the place of Judas Iscariot, because they prayed and they gave the Spirit the opportunity to speak. And number 6, we also need to understand that succession is an act of worship. It's an act of worship in the sense that when we are preparing for a transition, we are really trying to structure the whole process of the leadership of an entire organization or an entire church. Therefore, it is an act of worship. Being an act of worship means it's a process that God is given prevalence. God is given an opportunity to be the one to be heard, to direct, and to give the space and help us to know who would be the best leader suited for that particular job, who can carry the organization or the church or the ministry to the next level of its function and its life. These are so important aspect of transition that we need to put in place before we get into any process of leadership transition. So God bless you so much. Until next time, as we shall be also handling the third principle of leadership succession. God bless you and see you next time. Bye-bye.